All right, so you guys have downloaded this note sheet, right? From Schoology. Yeah, it looks like you guys have it up on your iPad. So today's notes won't take too long. It's going to be calculating slope. Slope basically means how slanted a line is. And I know you did some of this last year. So, this might be a little bit of a repeat for some of you guys, and that's okay. And so looking at this, the idea of slope, there's a couple ways to think about it. Okay, rise over run is one way to think about that. That's if you're looking at it graphically, and that's what we're going to do first, is look at it graphically and just think rise over run. Rise means up and down, and run means left and right. Okay, so let's just look at these lines graphically and try and figure out the slope of them from rise over run. So pick any 2 points. Now there's two that are highlighted here. So this one and this one. And I would suggest you always go from left to right. So going from left to right, I am rising up 1 and running over 1, 2. And so the rise, I write a fraction. The rise goes on top. The run goes on the bottom. And so the slope is 1/2. Okay, the rise always goes on the top. The run always goes on the bottom. Just like it was stated up here, rise is on top, run is on the bottom for your fractions. So to do the second one, again, start left to right. So start with this point first, okay, because that's the leftmost point. So our rise is actually down 2 in this case. So I'm going to make my rise at -2 because we went downward. And then my run is over 2. So my -2 is going to go on the top. My other 2 is going to go on the bottom because rise goes on the top, run goes on the bottom. So that's -2 over 2. And that reduces down to -1. And so again, reading like a book from left to right, just notice that if the slope is a positive number, the line's going upward. And if the slope is a negative number, the line's going downward. So just by looking at the positives and negatives, that might give you a little idea if we're doing it correctly. Okay. Any questions on those two before I do the next ones? Because the next ones are a little bit different because they're horizontal and vertical lines. So to do problem 3, to get from this point to this point, well, I would not go up or down where the rise is 0. And the run is 1. And 0 divided by 1 is 0. So in fact, any horizontal line will have a slope of 0 because they'll always have a rise of 0. So the top of the fraction will always be 0. Now for problem 4, the rise here is 2, but the run is 0 because we're not going left or right at all. Well, when that happens, when the 0 is on the bottom, that is undefined. And so those are kind of the 4 choices when it comes to slope that we have. Like in the upper left, you can either have a positive number, or in the upper right, you can have a negative number, or in the lower left, you might have 0, and that will always happen if it's a horizontal line. And in the lower right, it will always be undefined if it's a vertical line. Okay, so in fact, If you come across a horizontal line, you don't even have to do any work, just write 0. You don't even have to show the 0 divided by 1, okay, because it's always going to be undefined. If you come across a vertical line, just write undefined. You can show the work if you want to, but you don't have to. You don't have to show the 2 divided by 0, just write undefined. All right, so I'm just going to do a couple more, okay, and then that's going to be it. So the only difference for this one is that points are not drawn on the picture. So I'm going to pick some specific points. I'm looking for points like here, it hits right exactly in the corner. Okay, and then I would say maybe even up here, it hits right exactly in the corner. So you want to pick where the line hits it exactly in the corner to figure out our rise over run. So I'm going to draw a line for the rise. We're going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have a rise of 8. And I have a run of 1, 2, 3. And so my answer is 8 over 3. Okay, so the slope of the line is the rise, which is 8, over the run, which is 3. All right, I'm gonna go down instead of across. So I'm gonna do problem number 7. I'm gonna pick 2 points. And I'll highlight those just to make it easier for myself. So I work left to right. So I'll take that point there. I'm trying to find another one that's exactly in the corner. It looks like that one looks the best to me. And so I'm going to draw in my rise. I'm now going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I went down 8. And then my run will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so my answer is -8 over 5. All right, any questions on those? Okay, good. So I'm going to go down to the second part then, is when we're not given a graph. So now we have to do a little bit of math, a little adding and subtracting. If you're not given a graph and just given 2 points, we use this formula. The formula is that you subtract the y's on top and the x's on the bottom. So for example, now remember, I don't use this is 19 is an x and -16 is a y. -7 is an x and -15 is a y. So I'm going to subtract the y's on top. So I'll do -15 minus -16. Okay, you put the y's on top. -15 minus -16. Then I'm going to put the x's on the bottom. So that'll be -7 minus 19. So now you could, hopefully if you could do these, that's great. If not, you could use your calculator. -15 minus -16 will be +1 because it's like -15 plus 16. And -7 minus 19 is -26. So our answer is -1 over 26. All right, I'll do one more example like that. Which one do you want to do? 2, 3, or 4? 4. All right, we're going to do number 4. So we're going to subtract the y's on top. So it'll be 16 minus 8 that will go on top. And we're going to subtract the x's on the bottom. 9 minus 20, that will go on the bottom. Again, y is on top, x is on the bottom. So 16 minus 8 is 8, right? 9 minus 20 would be negative 11. And that doesn't reduce. So I have negative 8 over 11. All right, any questions on those? Okay, there's two types of problems for today. One, finding the slope graphically, and the other, finding the slope given 2 points.